This is the Date Night Dice Podcast, a podcast mostly about board games.
Probably not.
All right, it's on to the main event, the Date Night dlist.
I feel like you're yelling a little too loud.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wake up, children.
For tonight's dlist movie, we all watched Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. Had you guys been familiar with this movie beforehand? I had always been
really.
Curious about it.
Vaguely.
Yeah.
Right.
I was anything sci-fi. I'm
Preview.
always. Let's see what you got.
2017 movie, written and directed by the French director Luc Besson, French filmmaker.
Besson.
I
do have some notes.
It is the most expensive, independently financed film ever made.
What?
Oof,
Yes. So not made by a big Hollywood production studio or whatever. So Luc Besson privately financed and got investors himself.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
It is not made by a production
no.
studio.
Oh
I know.
no.
Oh no.
So
And
I don't know how much it cost, but it grossed $225 million
So
worldwide, and it was still considered a box office bomb because the production budget was so big.
I read the budget was $200 million. So if it got $225 overall,
Yeah, that's
Well, if the
for
production budget was
everything?
200, typically you double that for marketing.
for ads.
well, that's
right.
what. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So for everything, then that's a nothing. Sorry, Luke.
Sorry. Well, a dark force threatens Alpha, a vast metropolis and home to species from 1,000 planets. Special operatives, Valerian and Laureline, must race to identify the marauding menace and safeguard not just Alpha, but the future of the universe.
First of all, if someone read that and I saw the movie, I'd be like, no.
Huh.
That,
No.
I feel like that didn't really.
Huh.
I mean,
This movie is based on a comic book series, a French comic
Yes.
book series that's been running since the 60s, on and off.
once you
Wow.
told me about that, I was like, this could have been so much better.
I think that's my biggest complaint. If we're just broad strokes,
Yeah.
there's a good movie in here somewhere. Maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
I
It
think.
could have been really cool.
For me, the tagline of this review is wasted potential.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
What
big
a
time.
cool world and a cool place and a cool premise
Even cool main characters.
that is just
Could be cool.
right.
Yes, could have been cool.
Could have been cool.
Poorly
Yeah.
executed. Reaching
But
all
instead-
the way back to Ben's, I think, complaint about Jupiter Ascending, our first D-list. This movie, boy, if you like lore and universe building, get ready to dig in.
Yeah.
It's all there.
Could be awesome.
I feel just the opposite. If you like
What?
lore and universe building, then you're just going to feel let down because you're
Well,
going to think
yeah.
about what could have been.
but that's what I mean. Like, this could
But-
be fantastic.
But the
And
setup
instead-
is cool. The opening credits are, it's the International Space Station. They get every country up there. Aliens start to board the International Space Station as they build and they build and they build. It reaches critical mass. They decide they need to move this station away from the Earth or it's going to crash. And the only way to do that is basically shoot it into space and
Yeah.
let it continue to collect people.
Well, here's
And
go ahead.
Go
Ken.
ahead.
I'm sorry.
No,
I was
that's
gonna-
it.
Here's
That's
the,
the
weird
premise.
thing about this movie is it starts 3 times. You have this whole introduction with the space station growing into bigger and bigger and aliens and it has to leave and all this stuff. And it's like a pretty long sequence. It's maybe like
it
10
is
minutes.
long. Yeah.
And that's
And it's
the whole premise of the movie. Every sequence that should be 2 minutes is about 10 to 15.
Yes, that's
And-
true.
Right. It's like it blasts off to somewhere. I'm assuming we'll see it later, and you do see it later, right? The space station. It's like I didn't need to see that. Like you could have just shown me the space station and been like,
Oh, I liked that because that was.
one I didn't mind. There's plenty of others that could have been shortened.
well,
It
I
gets
like
worse.
that we feel different on this because I was like, that's
Yeah.
a complete waste of time. Like you
But
could
it
cut
was the
that off the
credits.
front. I don't need that.
Yeah,
Get
but
rid of that.
They're just trying to show
Gone.
you that, like, first it was countries, then it's like, wow, it's not just from Earth. Now it's
Right.
like other aliens.
They
and now
literally
it's-
build the city of 1,000 planets.
Yeah.
I
You
just
get to
feel
see
like it doesn't play into the rest of the story.
Well,
like, let's say this
it's the main thing.
Alpha
They're
space
saying
station.
that's why it's here.
But maybe Alpha is, if it was never clarified that this is from Earth and this is how humans got introduced to other species,
That'd be fine,
I could have
too.
cared less. Like,
That's
I don't
true.
need
Oh,
to know
really?
that.
Okay.
I don't
I liked
care where
it,
the space
but
station came from.
I get that.
That does make sense. But I think they're just trying to, say, like, why there's so many different groups of species, aliens,
Sure.
people, and stuff.
Right.
But
'Cause-
most of them don't need to be that long.
Because then we
No.
boom, we hard cut, we start another movie.
Well, it says 400 years later after that.
That's right. That's right. I
Okay.
forgot about that.
So
Yeah.
this is then cuts and says 400 years
And
later.
I don't like
so,
that. I don't need the specifics, right? If as soon as you start telling me how many years it's been,
I get it.
What is
It's been
No,
a long time.
I gotta start. It could have just said a long time later. Like then I don't have to be like, well, could you do this in 400 years?
but
and
then
what
you
kind of like just don't.
That
lay
I
those
don't mind.
specifics. A long time ago in the far future. Like I don't.
Right.
Just say
Yeah.
something
Right.
like that.
that would be fine too.
That's totally fine.
But I do like that it's at least not like most futuristic movies are like, now it's 2050. And you're like, yeah, shit's not going to be
Okay.
that much different in 2050.
At least it was way in the future. You're saying.
Though I will admit, 400 years later, it's still like just a bunch of fucking white guys in charge. So I
Right.
mean,
Well, it's only been 400 years.
I guess.
Oh man.
Same
If
as
that's not a
400. Go
shocking-
400 years backwards.
Yeah.
It's the same as
it's
400 years
just
from now.
a bunch of white guys still being douchebags,
Yeah.
guys.
Hasn't been
so
long enough.
that's
But boom, we hard cut. Now we're on some sort of like beach planet.
So we're at the beach scene.
yeah.
We cut, so we're in a very Avatar-like place, except it's beach instead of jungle, and we're light blue instead of rich blue.
Dark blue?
Dark
Yeah.
blue.
Yeah, they're like whitish blue.
And instead of Native Americans, they're vaguely African?
right,
I'll say it. I mean, that's what he did.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
pops out of this hut doing the Instagram influencer dance.
Man, Ben was like, "Is this an Instagrammer the whole time?"
Right, that like I
Influencer?
walk. The only way I walk forward is by twirling and looking back.
Right.
At the
He
camera.
was very happy to be alive. It was like if you were just like, ah,
I'm running
the
my
whole
hands
time.
through things.
She was just born.
Loving
Picture
life.
It's
Picturesque.
paradise. That's
Yeah.
the idea. It's paradise, right?
Yep.
Right. You're right. The scene is like
Do you want this?
way too long. No,
It does
I don't
establish a few
You're
things.
just gonna like
it does
wing
establish
it?
that.
Okay.
So there's these avatar people,
Mm-hmm.
and they have these little creatures, which we will find out are called collectors,
Are
or
they? They look like little
No, they're
armadillo
called
people.
mm,
It doesn't matter.
generators. No, there is a word for it. What is it
There's
called?
a word. It's called like a
Because it's the MacGuffin. The creature is the
Cloner.
MacGuffin. A creator. Let's call it a creator.
right.
And so they pop like a piece of
Pearl.
sand into it, and then it craps sand all over. And then they pop a pearl into its mouth, and it craps pearls all over it. Like from
Essentially, yeah,
every
poops out,
orifice of its body.
yeah, it's like shakes and it's like pooping out like 200
It doesn't
pearls.
look comfortable. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, it seems like torture, but they seem to like it. So
And so they're on this paradise. I'm sorry, Ben, I took over. Do you want to?
no, keep going. I'm trying to figure
walk
out
us
what the
through the
name
scene.
of that little creature is.
It's like the collector or the creator or the
I feel like they never had a name.
the generator.
Converter.
Or-
It's called the
Converter.
converter.
Okay, so the
It's
basic
weird, 'cause
premise
they're
is
not
that whatever
converting
you
anything, they're multiplying. It should be the
That's
multiplier.
true. It's a keen observation. Whatever you feed this dumb little hedgehog is that it just shits it out all over the place.
But like
times 100.
Yeah, times 100. Like
Yeah.
they feed it one of these super energy pearls, poops out 100.
Poops
of
out
them.
100 of them and goes
and
crazy.
there's like some myth that they feed the pearls back to the planet that they're on. It doesn't really matter. It cuts to a massive spaceship crashing through their atmosphere. And actually, multiple spaceships crash
yeah, there's
through.
a bunch
Yeah.
of
One-
little ones, big ones.
One
Suddenly
lands.
It's apocalyptic. They
They start hiding inside the spaceships that have crashed.
and it's not obvious that that's what they're doing. That they're
Well-
hiding
Right.
in a
It's
crash.
not
But
clear.
I mean, but at first they're just checking it out, and then someone goes like, "Oh shit!" Like crap's going out,
Yeah.
stuff's going crazy. So they close the door, because they're going to hide in it, and the handle like breaks off.
I do think
Is
it's
that
done
what happened?
purposefully.
Yeah.
That they go through a door into like from a beach world to a very like technical world.
Like metals.
And it's not clear that whether they got into a spaceship or whether they're in Alpha and they were in some sort of like simulated world and now they're in the underbelly. And the soldiers that are dead inside of this place that they are look just like the soldiers from the Alpha.
Well,
they could be in the ship. They could be
but you
on
don't
Alpha.
know
You don't have no idea.
But you're
see later. You're like,
talking about that with the context of the end of the movie.
yeah.
At the beginning, they just get into an old ship.
But to me, in the beginning, it wasn't obvious it was a
soldiers
ship.
yet.
Did they show a ship?
Yes.
Oh, I thought they just went through a door.
No, they showed a big ship that crashed, and then they went to check it out, and they're like looking around.
Oh, I missed the part where it was a ship.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I was like,
because-
I didn't know if they were like on Alpha or they're in a ship. All I saw was them go through a door.
Because when they're looking around, they're just kind of checking out stuff, and that's when a big ship comes, and they're like, whoa, 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 and everyone starts huddling together, and they close the door just for like safety. And that's when
I think
the handle breaks, and then the daughter of like the king
the
and
princess.
queen,
Yeah.
she runs up like, hey, I need to get in there, freaking out too, and they can't open the door. It's broken.
Right.
And it's a really long, like, hey, hands on opposite side of the glass. It's like 45 seconds of them like,
Yeah, it's a lot
you
of
could
like,
definitely
looking back
open the
and
door.
forth.
We're really far into the movie at this point. With the whole space station thing in the beginning.
20
and
minutes.
Now this, like, so much has happened.
We're
and
still
then
setting
she
it up.
blasts out her energy as
Yep.
the planet is destroyed. And then, boom, we hard cut to the actual start of the movie.
yes.
To Valerian.
Valerian.
Which
I'm going to call him
Listen,
Val from here on out.
I got a lot of bones to pick with this guy.
Yeah,
First
tell
of all,
me about it.
is that his real voice? Or is he doing like tough guy voice? Because he sounds like this.
Yeah, he is very like, we need to get to the next section.
I
What?
hate how they introduce the main characters in this movie.
You mean
What
how
even
they're like,
is it?
do you
I
guys
don't
enjoy
even
these
remember.
douchebags?
Remember,
like, that's how it
he's
is.
on the fake beach. He's on a
Yep.
fake beach when
They're
the
in, like, a
energy blasts
simulation.
through him, and Laureline comes in, and he's like flirting with her, and she's. This is what I don't understand, and what's not made clear in the movie is like, from the movie, all I can tell is that they're agents who work together, and this guy is acting very inappropriately in the workplace.
Yeah. But also
That's true.
he's but also they're like, "Oh man, you and all your girls. I'm sorry. We're going to cut to you look like you're severely sick. I'm sorry.
Yes.
He's not a good-looking person. He
He's-
first of all has
he's-
a haircut of a 5-year-old.
Yes, he
And-
has a bowl cut.
Yes.
And he's
yet-
doing a tough guy voice.
Yes.
And like this is miscasting at its
Yes.
finest.
And
I
then they're
think.
like, "Ugh, you and all your girls." I would be like,
Right.
"Hold up. There's
what do they-
no way this
Well, what I don't understand about this
Sorry.
scene is like she doesn't want anything to do with it right now.
yeah,
Like,
she's not into him.
Maybe
is
a little
so
bit
not
later
into him.
she turns a corner, but right now she is not into him, and
At
yet
all.
for some reason she's straddling him on the top of his beach chair in a bikini.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's like some
It's
weird
like so
simulation
weird.
thing.
It is. This like sets the whole thing off on the wrong foot.
Yeah.
Because I think by the end of this movie you have some spoiler alert, like this movie's pretty okay. But by the end you kind of like the characters, but the way you get introduced to them, you're like,
Boy,
what?
it's
no,
tough.
they're
This is
like
creepy
and
douchebaggy.
gross
Yeah,
and
they're
weird.
not.
It's tough.
Well, also you said from the comic. What's the background in the comic?
Oh, he's an agent, and she becomes an agent because he goes back to like 12th century France, and
Okay,
she
so
figures out he's a time traveler, so he
And
has
she
to
goes-
take her with him.
Okay. and-
What?
yes.
That's
but,
even weirder.
But that is so much more of like, okay, you guys clearly have a history, obviously.
Right. You're
Where
right.
that would make
Yeah.
more sense. This is like, I don't know, is this day 2 of training?
I think-
Nobody tells you, like, have you been working together for 10 years, 2 years, 1 day? No clue. Because
Right.
you
I
seem
think
like
they're-
you hate him.
I think they're trying to establish like they might have had a relationship, but it's not done well.
It's so bad.
'Cause
No,
She-
because she seems like so like,
She's
what
like,
are you
She is
talking about?
not into him at
Right.
all.
But every
But
now
her
and
body,
then,
what she's doing, doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense with what she's
and
saying.
every now and then she'll have like a little smile, and you're like, "Is this like classic him? Like it's been 10 years, or is
Well,
this like classic him we
Also,
trained
they're
last
like
week?"
22, so
That's the other thing. Why
you
are they
can't have
so
worked
young?
together that long.
I know. They're like, oh, they're the best agents around. They look like they both turned 19 yesterday, so I'm not
Yeah.
quite sure how
Well,
long
that's the
they've been
weirdest
agents.
thing is like if there's no context to have they been working together for 5 years or 5 minutes. Like I have no idea. Is this their first mission or is this their
No,
50th
doesn't
mission?
tell you.
And if it's their 50th mission, it makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
But you
Yes.
have no idea. They
Nope.
look like they just started on the force. So
They both
And all
look-
you got to do is have
Yeah.
the computer say like mission 52.
yes.
You know,
Right.
Yes,
Like
simulation 300. Like
somebody
whatever.
make one comment about like, well, here we go. We've only been doing this for what 3 years now or something like that. When are
Nothing.
you going to come around to me? And she's like, as soon as you delete that playlist.
oh my
of all
god,
your
I
girls.
hate this. I hate this. They call it the playlist,
And it's like,
which is it's like his black book of women
Yeah,
he
of,
slept
like,
But just
Okay,
with,
imagine,
presumably.
like I don't write movies, but imagine if they had just said it the way I just did. Of like, he's like, when are you gonna come around to me? Meaning he's been trying for a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And she
that
says,
works.
as soon as you get rit of that playlist, and you're like, oh, she doesn't want anything to do with you because you're
Or-
a ladies' man.
or just-
instead, it's this weird thing.
yeah.
Of like, have
Even
they just
like
met? How
just
do you?
mentioning like, hey, remember 5 years ago when we did our first mission? Like just something, like a little glimpse of something.
Eh,
But instead, you never
the
find out.
playlist.
But again,
Playlist is stupid too. It's like fucking like.
I'm harping on
snapshots
the
of
playlist.
girls. It's
because you don't hear that term again for another 2 hours, and
No.
it's the last line of the movie. And you're like, wait, what's the playlist? Oh, that's right. It's that first
my
scene that I
playlist.
hated.
It's like
Right.
a button too. Like he has a little
Yeah,
remote
he like
control.
it's like, oh yeah, pull up my like iTunes of women I slept with. And he's looking at
That's
this
what's
like
so weird.
thing.
And it's like their driver's license shot.
It's
like,
weird.
Why would that be a thing?
It is.
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to like say that he's a ladies' man,
How
but it
could
doesn't.
he
Yeah,
be
but
a
it's-
ladies' man? Look at him. I'm sorry. He could be a
He's-
great guy in
Hey,
real life.
maybe
sorry.
he's super hot in 400 years. Like you don't know what hot is.
It's
That's
not
true.
that. I'm
That's a
sorry.
fair crit-
He looks like he's sick and he just turned 19 and he's got a bowl cut.
sick
he's
guys.
he's
You married me?
miscast.
I'm
He's
sorry. It's not
miscast
like
in this
secret
role.
agent hot.
Real quick, who would play this better?
Anyone. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Channing
Um,
Tatum.
What about? Yeah, sure.
He
I would
would
take
though.
that.
He would.
He would
play
actually
better.
be better. Our Pat.
Yeah. What about that
Oh,
shithead
Pat
from?
Pat
from,
would play him good.
Ooh, our Pats would be good. What about the douchebag from Battlefield? You want to see that guy again for another?
But see,
He'd be a better
He
Valerian.
would be a better douchebag, which is
He
what
would,
Valerian's supposed
actually.
to be. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, he
But I
would.
guess I would never come around to like
But then it-
slightly liking him though.
But by the end of this movie, I like Valerian.
I disagree. We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
All right, so we have started one movie about space stations, and then we started another movie about aliens, and then we have restarted a third time with a movie that's finally the actual movie we're watching.
Yes. Sorry.
This is when it actually gets good, though. Once we get past this weird introduction.
It has a plot.
So, yeah,
Right.
that's a plot.
Well, I kind of like this first part. So we get to see Valerian and Laureline go on a mission.
What is
and
it?
they go to
They
some.
have to get the little armadillo animal.
The collector?
The pearl pooper.
It's kind of cool. So they go to like this desert planet.
Oh,
where
that's right, yeah.
Where
Yeah.
people can come and
I
they
like this.
virtually travel to a different planet that's a big like mall.
It's called the Big Market.
The big market.
It was confusing
Very confusing.
what was happening,
Yep.
both in terms of like setup and actually what was happening, but as a concept, very cool. I was
It's
on
cool,
board.
but I was very confused for quite a
Yeah.
while.
Right. It's not made clear, I think, until the end of the mission when Valerian's
Well,
like
Describe what it is.
the head that he talks to is like, why are you 14 million light years away from your target? So it seems like Valerian was assigned with stealing one of these replicators or whatever they're called.
Yeah,
Converters.
Converter.
And
Sorry.
his plan, instead of actually going to the place where the converter is they go to this like world where people convert. That's like completely on the other side of the universe, where people virtually can go to this marketplace planet, the big market, and then they can like send stuff through this like portal back to the planet that they're on. It's like a tourist destination where you can,
It's a big portal, but it's like an airport portal, right? So
Yeah.
there's, and he has a handheld version,
right. That's the thing. So
of that.
He has one for like his hand to put the animal in, and for a gun.
Yeah,
You know,
Right.
for the,
So
Which
they have
I
a
love that.
headset on.
That's cool.
Right. Most people just have a headset that let them see this other place. He gets this like thing he can put on his arm. So
It's
that
a shoebox.
His hand,
Puts
yeah, it's
his
like a
hand
shoebox.
through
it
a
essentially
shoebox.
looks like a giant box.
Where the half of the shoebox teleports to this other place, and it's like floating through the air,
but
right?
he can like sneak in, you know,
Right.
before he's
Right.
teleported in, so you can sneak in the room and then like teleport your hand in with the gun.
Right. He
So,
sneaks there
so
with
that's
the
how he's
VR
all
headset.
sneaky.
I really wish that this first mission was just a what's it like to be Valerian and Laureline.
like a really
And-
easy good
And
mission.
instead, it's tied up with the main story already.
Yeah.
Because
But-
what they're going for the converter, right? And the alien people from the beach planet that we saw are there trying to buy it from this like
Which
Jabba the
all,
Hutt,
like,
crime
basically.
lord, yeah.
It's
Which
Jabba
is-
the Hutt.
also like this whole movie could have been stopped if like they didn't fuck up the mission, and like we wouldn't have to do any of this. But okay.
That's true. That's true. But it was government property, and Valerian is a government agent, and he was trying to recover it. I liked this whole thing with like the virtual world and him teleporting his hand there. And yes, he gets into some trouble, and Laureline is like helping their like locals who are helping him out, and they're like taking over some of the like guards there, like mentally taking them over, and it kind of goes south, and they gotta bust out of there. And
Like
they're
he gets his
and they-
hand stuck. He can't get his hand out, so they're still like chasing him around because they can get like his hand.
Because they can see the hand,
And they can see
basically.
it.
right.
Yeah.
So then last minute, she
I-
helps get his hand out.
The only thing I didn't understand here, though, is like they got the target. His hand is maybe stuck in the other world, but like, what are the stakes? Like the
I guess his
people,
hand?
but people are chasing
His
him
hand.
around. But like, they
Yeah.
can't hurt him really. I guess they could
He's
hurt his
lose a hand. Yeah.
But he seems like he's like trying not to get killed, and only his hand
well,
is there.
I guess I wonder though if he got hurt enough, then like the rest of him could still get.
And I suppose
You know, like if you get your
I s-
arm ripped off, you can die.
I suppose you could get caught on the actual planet that he's on, right?
Yeah.
And I interpret it as he can get caught on two planets, like captured by the same people.
yeah.
Like,
then
oh
what?
yeah, we've got his hand here, you've got his body here. Well, chop his head off or whatever.
Yeah.
I got you.
Because there were
assuming.
people on the planet that he was actually on, chasing him, right?
Yeah, it was a little
I
bit
think?
of both. Well,
Maybe not.
I don't think so,
No, I
and
don't
that's
think
why I didn't
so.
understand like what was the big deal? Like,
Well,
go
because
hide in a
on the-
I feel
corner
like
so
it
you
would
can
have
get
been
your hand back.
hard to be like hide your box for 2 minutes.
Well,
It's
because
just
on
your
the-
hand.
On the real planet
no,
that
on the
he's
real
on,
planet they did.
they
start to,
released
'cause
that
they had
animal.
to- they had to
Yeah.
jump onto the.
That was much
school
later,
bus.
though. That was after he was like shooting people and like causing all kinds of trouble.
well.
And what I didn't
Oh, you think
understand was
so?
like, why did he
Okay.
bother to cause all that trouble?
I don't
know.
Doesn't matter.
But then
'Cause it's
they throw their
classic
entire
Valerian.
team. They throw their entire support team to their deaths
Yeah.
by that creature.
Like they don't care about these guys at all. The local guys they had hired to like bust them into this place and stuff.
Which I didn't understand because some of them were like flirting with like Laureline or whatever a little bit. It seemed like.
It's very strange. The
But
whole
I
yeah,
was
there
like-
was one.
But I was like,
I
is this
think that-
supposed to be something?
well,
but it
where
wasn't,
where
so-
in here does Valerian ask Laureline to marry him? Is that mixed
Oh
up in all
God,
of this?
that was before this.
No, that was right before he was like, "What if we got married?" And she's like, "Shut
That
up,
was the whole-
douchebag! Like you're."
Yeah, that
dumb."
was the whole playlist thing. He's like, "Oh, what if I married you?" And this is his voice in the movie.
Yeah.
"Oh, why don't you marry me?" Like,
It was super out of nowhere
Which
and
once
weird.
again, I don't know how long have they known each other? Is it hey, I've
Yeah.
been trying to date you for a month, or have we known each other for 15 years and I'm
Yeah.
serious?
I
So
think-
so it's
this
early
may
on
be-
because he spends the whole movie trying to prove to her that she should marry him.
yeah,
But like you never want Like, you're never rooting for him. You're never
Well,
like,
he
I
doesn't
really
deserve
hope
it.
she
He's
wants
a
him.
douchebag.
And it's the end scene, which is supposed to be his character arc completion. She has to tell him what to do.
Yeah, she is still like, do you
To
want
be a good person.
hear the definition of love? Like, it is still where you're like, oof, you're
Right.
not getting it.
I really
Well,
hated the end of this movie. Actually.
He ultimately doesn't want to hand over the generator or whatever
Yeah.
that creature is. He won't do it.
No, well, we'll get to that, but he
Yeah.
is totally like, I'm a soldier, bitch. And you're like, I'm
But
sorry,
like
I
all
don't
of a
think
sudden,
you've been
out
a
of
soldier
nowhere,
up
he hasn't
until
been
now.
listening
Yeah.
to orders until now. Like, why all of a
Yeah.
sudden you like buy the rule book when
Well,
like
okay,
5
okay.
seconds ago?
Keep
All right,
because we'll get to that.
sorry. What's after the desert? We go to Alpha, right?
We go to Alpha. We see a little bit that she's trapped
Nope.
with her work partner in this nightmare, and we have no idea how long
What are you
Loreline's
talking
been
about?
trapped with. Valerian has been an absolute nightmare
Oh.
up to this point.
I'm
Yeah,
just
we know
confused
that.
as to
We know
what you're
that.
saying.
Creep.
I feel like you're slow motion.
They do the
sucks.
classic, like, can you update us on Alpha? And we get the whole, like, it's for us, not for them sort of
Right.
thing, where it walks
Right.
us through the whole space station. Who
It's
lives
expanded.
where.
I remember this because
Oh,
I
okay.
I liked it because it was like, oh, it's grown 7% this year or whatever, and I was like,
Right.
whoa, so it's like huge.
Yeah.
It's a planet of space station.
Right, but
Well,
and they
it's-
didn't even try to cover it at all. They're like, we're gonna tell the audience about Alpha.
I was
and
fine
like,
with it.
You just whatever,
Whatever.
like let it gloss over you, and I was fine with
Wait.
that too. My favorite part of that is the aliens
Seatbelts.
who were
No.
like, yeah, seatbelts.
There's a
They
lot
put
of
their arms
seatbelt
up.
Shoot on.
scenes.
Why?
in
Why
this.
are there so many seatbelt scenes? I don't know
No,
why
but-
Yeah,
there's
they
so
sit
many of those.
and they T-pose, and then it.
Before they do that, they analyze the pearl, though. And they say that
Where
the
did they
pearl,
get the pearl?
he took the pearl when they were doing the deal. He also took the pearl.
Oh, you know what? You're right, because the Avatar aliens were gonna trade a pearl
Yeah.
for the collector,
Or
the
or
generator?
something.
converter,
So they
and he
analyze
grabs
it,
both.
and it has
he grabs both.
Yeah, it has
Yeah.
10 times the energy of like just
20
their ship.
times.
Is it
Oh
10?
man.
10?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it said 20.
Okay. Well, I wrote 10, but
It doesn't
But
matter.
what's
Sure.
his name?
the whole
Jack
point.
Kurosawa. He has like both parts to the entire plot. He
Yeah.
has both MacGuffins.
Exactly.
Anyway, it's very.
So, yeah, in that they find out it's like super energy packed in this one tiny pearl.
Right. 20
You know,
times or
it's
10
like-
times the
it's-
energy of the whole ship.
Of like their whole ship that's going on. So that's going on. Then they go, to the space station, or now the 1,000 planets. But they say it has 30 million different species on it. But when they
Wow.
when they
Whoa.
show the humans, they're like essentially at a club, which I'm like, well, I guess shit
That's
hasn't
right.
changed for us.
Future
Like,
club.
It's just like boo, 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 and they're dancing. You're like, oh, great. I'm so glad that we've really advanced since.
My favorite was the aliens who take care of the like IT, and they're like, instead of working on microchips, they're working on what I called macro chips.
Like big giant,
They're
looks
like-
like a building,
Right.
but they're, yeah.
they're like plates. They're like giant chips.
What's that? Instead of a PCB, it's now like it's like 3x5 cards.
Yeah.
like
Yeah, it's like
electronic.
Giant.
They're like having to like go up and down them with ropes. They're like so big. It's like
They
very
went
strange.
backwards. Yeah.
But this is where they show they're like there's so many different species and they all live together and like some are in
beautiful and-
water and some are do this and some take care of the science portion and the computer, is just saying all that crap.
They very deliberately take time to show an entire underwater society
Oh yeah.
on a planet composed entirely of prefabricated
Yeah.
space stations.
Yeah. I don't know who like brought the water.
Doesn't make
in,
any
How
sense.
did the liquids get there?
or
How is
well,
it enclosed?
It gets more
Is it-
insane later.
Like, and then they're like, oh yeah, those guys harvest cobalt for us. From where?
Did they bring the cobalt to
shit.
harvest? Like,
Yeah, right.
were they like, yeah, we hid some down in the sand and we'll get it every now? Like,
Right, it
what?
doesn't make any sense.
Did you bring it with you? It's a space
I mean,
station
I'm not.
essentially.
It just. I guess if you're gonna watch this movie, boy, you better be ready to just be okay with a lot of things.
do it.
Just
Right.
go with it.
And so
It's not like a bunch of planets that connected. Like it's whatever you brought to camping essentially
Right.
is what we have. So like you can't just like
Although,
make up
I
shit.
mean,
I guess you.
I
don't
like
know.
the concept that like this space station is so big, it actually has like a planet core.
Yeah.
Like I'm also okay with that. Where, well, if you dig deep enough, it's just shit down there. It's just stuff.
nobody
It's
even
just
knows.
garbage.
Right, it is supposed to be, like 30 million
and that-
species is.
And that comes up
Yeah.
later. We're like, oh, there's stuff in the core. And so,
That's actually next.
yeah, I mean, there's cool stuff here. But
It's just done
an
really
ocean?
weird.
an ocean?
Right? Can you imagine
Right.
someone being like, yeah, we brought like the Atlantic Ocean, guys.
Very
So-
strange.
Quite literally, where did the water come from? Anyway.
So now we get introduced to the bad guy, the commander.
gosh.
I'm not even I'm not spoiling anything. He's obviously the bad guy.
It's
He's
so-
got,
He's a bad guy.
Obvious. Immediately you go,
Immediately.
well, it's him.
he's the bad guy. He's got some sort of robot death troopers. He
Yep.
explains to everybody how in the core of the station they have a red zone that's growing, and in a week's time it's going to engulf the whole station.
Yeah, they
So
say
they-
they're contaminated.
They got to get down there, and they got to figure out
what it
what's
is.
going on.
Yep.
It couldn't be more clear that the leader
Well,
of the humans
yeah.
is the bad guy.
And if it isn't
Definitively.
clear, the next scene is him walking into a room where he's torturing someone, and he's like, "I'm in charge
One of the
like just-
Avatar aliens.
He's just straight up tells everyone, "I'm torturing one of the aliens from the beginning, and when you're done with them, kill them." And he like walks
he
away.
walks out.
And you're like, "Well,
Yeah.
this is real obvious."
Right.
Yeah.
It's very clear.
I kept
He
waiting
bad.
for... So he gets... Oh, wait. I'm jumping the gun. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I mean, all that really happens next is that the human command, not of Alpha, but the actual human leaders, say that Valerian and Laureline are going to guard the commander. The bad guy is the commander, right, of Alpha. And so they're like going to be his bodyguards. So they suit up in these cool, like, I don't
Yeah,
know,
they're cool suits.
cool suits that
It's very Mass Effect, actually.
Like you say,
Yeah.
cool, and then you were like, "Does she have to wear this the whole time?" And you were like,
Yeah, right. But they do smart things like they don't give him the converter even though he wants it because he's clearly a bad guy and they don't trust him.
"Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah." Laureline holds on to it.
Let's go.
And then they go to some meeting about the red zone,
yeah.
right?
Yes.
I feel like you
I
got
forgot
that
about
this.
this.
Like you're going so slow.
No,
you're like
because
questioning.
there's so many scenes in this movie.
They have like essentially an international, interworld, whatever meeting about the red zone and what they should do within the space station. And in the side of the ship, the Avatar aliens, the Pearl people, like burst in. They slime everyone. Looks like cobwebs.
They slime
And
them real good.
They take the commander and they get out of there.
Valerian does put in the like breather from
Harry
Phantom
Potter.
Menace.
Oh, I was gonna say
Yep.
Harry Potter.
Which I'm glad you brought that up because I forgot how stupid it was.
He was like,
he puts on a
real
so
quick.
everybody's getting slimed. I'm like, and he throws in this breather. I'm like, okay, smart. The slime would suffocate you, right?
Yeah.
In theory. Nope. The breather he puts on opens up and a little spider crawls out and cuts him out of the slime.
Right, it's not a
Which I'm like,
breather.
did
It's
he
not
know
a
he was
breather
gonna
at
be
all.
in a cocoon?
It doesn't need to be in his mouth. There was no anyway.
You're absolutely right. Like we're tripping over too much here. We probably need to move on. But I do want to say, like, Valerian goes in with the commander to the meeting, and before all the aliens bust in, Laureline's out in the hall. She runs into like these three duck
Oh,
guys.
frick, frack, and
I-
Oh
whack.
God.
Frick,
The
frack,
guys from Men in Black. Those like that's what this is. These are those like weird
They look like platypus duck creatures with like bat wings.
I put-
hairless.
Some sort?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't-
they're like a weird...
My notes here say, "What the fuck is up with the three monkey fates?"
I wrote Frick,
Yeah,
Frack, and
it is.
Paddywhack, so I think we're
Frick, Frack, and
on the
Paddywhack.
same page.
And then what is she? She's trying to work a deal with them. What's the
Well,
deal?
But it's never
I feel like
explained. Like,
they're
who are these guys? Why do
No.
they know so much? Like, what is even going on?
It's like
here?
they're the behind the scenes. They know all
Right.
the little secrets around
Sure,
town.
you can infer that, but like, what? Why do they just appear out of nowhere all of
Yeah.
a sudden?
And why are they in the human command station?
Well,
Yeah, I'd be
and-
like, how are you allowed in here?
Right.
Like, who was like, yeah, go
Where
on
did
in,
you
guys.
come from? And then as soon as they get slimed and then they get out, then they run into him again. They were like hiding in the corner
Well,
or something.
Haha, oh shit, y'all got slimed, huh?
Oh damn, dog! You get slimed?
Oh wait, but after they get slimed, oh wait, they're trying to get the commander back.
Because he
And-
got kidnapped by the aliens.
He got kidnapped,
Yes.
and this is when Laureline is telling Valerian where to go, the quickest direction to get to the commander, and she's like,
Right.
well, the quickest direction through the spaceship is to just like essentially smash through all of these
Yeah, well,
habitats.
First, he has to turn his suit into Juggernaut mode.
Yeah. And he just, but she's like, go straight. He's smashing through, I guess habitats, right?
Habitats, right? And this is where
But-
we see the ocean that I previously complained about.
He goes into and smashes through another one. I want to be like, whoa, you can't just let ocean water
Well,
out
and
into
here's-
other habitats.
You know, I understand like visual effects are expensive, but like there's 30 million races or whatever that live on the space
he gets
station.
to the edge of the ship in 2 minutes.
But he goes through the same habitats we saw in the introduction to the
yes.
space station. No more, no less. He goes through the same
my
ones that we
concern-
just saw.
Yes.
My concern
Yep.
is it's more like each habitat is, 15 feet long, the way he runs through them?
Well, he jetpacks through the ocean.
The habitats would not be, it's not a zoo. They would be like a mile, like it would be an actual place
Yeah.
to live. It would not
You're
be
not
a
wrong.
15-foot corridor that like they're all like in a circle.
Well,
right?
and
like, that
story
doesn't
of
make
this
any
movie,
sense.
the action sequences just never make any sense, right? And then he like busts out into space because she said 81, but then she realizes, oops, it was 18, and the ship was
Which
waiting
also
at
I
18.
want to be like, is that a problem?
It's-
There's an
this
open
bothered
to
me.
space.
So he goes theoretically through the entire planet
Yeah.
to get to 81, and
Yeah.
she's like, oh shit, it's 18, and then he's there, which means he circled enough of the planet
Yeah.
again. Like, what are these ports? I don't know. Like, her mistake was solved in 1 second.
It doesn't make
Well,
any
I
sense.
assumed like there's like maybe there's like 20,000, and 18 and 81 aren't that far away from each other.
Sure.
But also, he just went through a bunch of he went to where they're making the computer
it's-
parts, and they're getting little things of krill or he's like bursting through these habitats where it would just be
Right.
a
Wouldn't the
hot mess.
ocean now be
the
leaking
ocean would
into
be
the-
flooding into space.
It's all
that
just for
everyone would be
visual.
drowned.
This,
Right.
when
It's
in
just
doubt,
such a
this
mess.
movie goes for the cool visual.
Yeah, that is absolutely true.
Which,
But-
did we mention this at the open? The guy who made this did Fifth Element,
We
starring.
didn't, but I did
He
read
did,
that.
yeah,
Willis.
he did do. Right.
This
Which
is
makes,
just a
like, perfect
crazier
sense.
version.
Yeah.
That's true.
If you like Fifth Element, you'll
Go
like
for
this
it.
probably. Yeah.
So then he like gets in his ship and he's chasing the alien ship and breaks
Oh,
into a bunch of other
That
little
lasts
ships.
though like a good 10
And
minutes.
then he's following. It breaks into pieces. He follows the one that's the commander, and it falls deeper into Alpha. And then his ship's not gonna fit, so he busts into. He's got a little ship chasing their little ship, and he shoots a grappling hook at it. And then they get sucked into the red zone and disappear. And Laureline, and the now new commander, I guess. I don't know this
It's
other
the
guy.
next
This
guy,
nameless
the
guy.
general or something.
I don't know. He had red hair. So this is
Right.
where it's like,
Yeah,
okay.
the general guy.
This is where I thought, okay, Clive Owen plays the apparently bad human general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this other dude takes control, and I'm like, okay, this is the actual bad guy.
That's what I thought
No.
too.
No, this guy's
Clive-
actually a decent human being.
Clive Owen is, they're going to
He's
reveal
the
that he
red
had
herring.
it sewed up. Yep. It's a classic switcheroo.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. he's a bad guy, and the guy who took his spot genuinely deserves it and should be in charge.
Yeah, exactly. So he won't let Laureline go after Valerian, who is now very concerned and beginning to become very unprofessional. And she was up until now a super agent, and she is beginning to break at the edges and is acting like super sad about Valerian disappearing.
Well, this is where you're like, I guess she likes him because she's like really concerned
I don't
and
know
freaking
why.
out.
He's a creep.
That's the first time that you're like, maybe she does like him a little.
Right. So they like try to arrest her so she can't get away. She breaks out, obviously, very easily, and then runs into the three monkey fates again. And they know how to find Valerian.
Yeah.
But she has to throw them a bag of coins, like 18th century gold. You don't ever see what's inside the bag. I don't know what's in there, but she like throws them a bag of coins that jingles in their hands.
Which is like, are we still doing this? It's not
I don't
like
know.
computer chicken.
And they're like, we know what to do. We can help you. And so they go.
They're very like Dr.
That was
Seussy.
a very accurate impression of these guys. That's the exact voice.
Yep.
So they don't know where Valerian is. They know how to find Valerian. They bring her down to some dude with a sub who's like very like General
old fisherman,
Ahab with
crazy.
like a little submarine, and it's hard to convince him to like.
Did
it's
I
not
black out during this part?
This
I don't
lasts
remember any
quite
of this.
a while. This is one of those sidetracks where you're like, do we have a new plot?
I was okay with this sidetrack though. This is the only sidetrack I'm okay with.
There
It's like-
are some sidetracks
so
later in the
many
movie
sidetracks, so.
that should be cut entirely.
Absolutely.
So many that you're like, are we on a different plot?
Wait, who's
And
Ahab?
then-
I don't remember.
He was in a
this.
submarine. Remember,
Yeah.
they go into the
They have to
ocean and they have
fish
to
a
steal one of
squid.
those little jellyfish off
Yes,
of
jellyfish.
the
No,
big
I
giant
must have
fish.
blacked out.
Right, so they like suck it off of there, and then it's like
So-
trying
This
to
is like
eat them.
Phantom Menace type stuff.
It's
Yeah.
off something that's like the
Yeah.
size of like 4 blue whales. You know, like it's like this giant creature. Once again, I guess we have an ocean.
Right, and there's a
Because
whole
we're,
nother
like-
seatbelt scene. He goes seatbelt, and she goes what? And then she's flying around the inside of the sub.
Oh, that's
Which-
right. I
put her
did laugh
seatbelt
at
on.
that. I did laugh.
Like I feel like you'd be used to seatbelts by now, but
And so they get the jellyfish. They got a jellyfish. Apparently, it can like read your brain, but if you leave it on for too long, it'll
God.
eat your brain.
you have to put it on
I
your head.
honestly
for less
forgot
than a
about
minute.
this so much.
This is
This is
This
like
is my
20
favorite-
dumb
minutes.
scenes. Yes.
But
yes.
we're only halfway into the movie, right?
Yeah.
This part.
Now I remember.
This is what
Yeah.
gets me, man. Like we're halfway into this movie. And half of that time was spent in 2 different movies. One was about
Intros.
old
Yeah.
Earth and so like we watched one scene of Valerian and Laureline and then a little bit with the commander. She puts the thing
Jellyfish.
on to try to find Valerian, and first she sees memories of her and Valerian. We see nothing that wasn't already in the movie.
The memories
Yes.
are at the beach
There-
scene.
Yes. Yes.
It's
So you must have
only
just
in
met,
the
is
movie.
my only
There's
thought.
nothing from before that we haven't
No.
seen yet. Like
Yeah.
I don't get this. Like this makes me like the only stuff they made for the movie was the stuff they made for the movie, and they can't flash back to
you
anything
can't,
else
like,
ever.
You can't-
do a couple of other flashbacks of
15
like
seconds
Yeah.
of them like
No,
having
nothing.
coffee somewhere.
having
every
coffee
scene
in
you
another
s-
mission. How about the 12th century France? What like let's just put a little boop boop boop. That's
Every
it.
Yeah.
memory you see was something that was already shown in the movie.
It was
and we're
honestly
at,
within
like,
the last
we're, like,
24 hours.
40
I want you to
minutes in.
hold on to that
Yeah.
thought because the big reveal, air quotes, at the end of this movie is just scenes you've already seen,
Yes, that's
but you
true.
forgot about because this movie has so much. Anyway, okay.
All right.
I totally
All right.
forgot about the jellyfish thing,
Wait.
to be honest.
While this is
The
happening,
jellyfish subplot.
the general, the guy in charge, whatever, the redhead guy.
Redhead guy, yeah.
He finds out the planet of Mul, I think it is. Mule?
Mule.
Mul?
Yeah.
Okay, Mule. The Pearl alien people. He finds out that was destroyed 30 years ago.
Yeah,
So-
there's like
so
a
it's
cover
just a
up
little
and all
bit
this
of
stuff
a like
going on.
he every time he tries to look for information, it's like classified. He can't get to it. So you kind of have
Right.
that going on in the background.
There is no surprises here. Like
Yeah.
you knew
No.
what's going
No,
on
because
from
right
the
away
first
you're like,
second.
let me guess, the commander did it, and yeah, the
Commander did it, and he's trying to cover it up. Boom! Now you know what happens. Like that. Like that.
You know
That's
from
it.
the minute you
That's
see
the
The whole
him.
plot.
There.
Yeah.
That's
as soon
He
as
did
you
it.
see him,
He's
you're like, well,
covering it
that
up.
douchebag did it.
He
And
made
yeah,
a
he did.
mistake. He's covering it up because he's a jerk. Like, there you
Yep.
go. That's the movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
So now Laureline knows where to find Valerian. She goes there. He's still passed out. Like, what would he have done otherwise? I'm not exactly sure. She gives him this super injection or some sort of rebreather or something that wakes him up.
Yeah, it is like
And
an
he's not
injection
thankful
thing.
at all. He's like, where you been at, girl?
God,
You know,
he's
like-
such a dickhead.
Well, that's
I
the other
hate
thing. I'm
this
like,
guy.
are we supposed to like him? He's like, yeah, if you didn't come, who would?
Wait,
And
why
that's
is
it. And
why
you're
is
like,
her
okay, I don't, because his thing broke.
why is her suit all busted up though? Her suit
Because she put a jellyfish on her head. I don't know.
Yeah.
her suit never
That's-
does anything.
That's
right?
the answer.
Like he busted through the whole space station in his suit. Her suit never helps
Well,
her out once.
She can't get out of a fucking wicker basket later. So.
Well, ironically, is she not the better person here? Like,
Right?
I'm not saying like he's
Yeah.
the hero, but this is a classic Frodo Samwise, but way worse. Like, she's the hero.
right.
Anyway, we'll get
yeah,
there.
It's
So now she rescues him, and immediately she needs to be rescued. She gets hooked
Yes.
line on some sort of butterfly
Some
bait trap.
stupid
Like a
ass
troll
like
fish.
Fishing pole with a butterfly
she
at the
gets
end of it.
attached to a fishing pole.
yeah. She got
The next
caught
time we
chasing
see
a
her, though,
butterfly.
she's in like a wicker basket
wicker
that you would
basket.
see on one of the forest moons of Yavin, and like being carried away by some sort of
It's like a dumb troll.
They're
And
like
that's
hairless apes or trolls
But
or
I want to
something.
be like, does your suit not have a knife, dental floss, something? I feel like I could
Yeah.
get out of that wicker basket. And she's acting like done.
This
She's
is-
done so.
This is where we descend into arguably the worst part of the movie.
absolutely.
I
Gosh,
think.
Yes.
This entire
Yep.
movie, this part of the movie I have bracketed, and around the brackets it says half the movie WTF.
Yeah.
Cut this
Well,
out.
it keeps
Just
going
cut
into all that, like,
all this shit
are
out.
we still
This
on that same
whole
plot?
Next part. Cut it all out.
It's like 45 minutes.
Anyway,
Yeah.
It felt like it.
she's captured by people that nobody's allowed into their territory.
Oh, they're savages and they're like dumb and goofy. They're like
they look like dumb trolls or something.
I,
But
like
they're
the
supposed to
trolls
be-
from Harry
talk.
Potter.
they're supposed to be really evil and like we don't go there, but then they're also like super goofy.
Yeah, the whole
they're
time they're like, ooh, and like that's all they say. Like they don't. Yeah.
like it's just like comedic relief, but
Yeah, like,
also they're the
she's
worst.
Screaming at them, and they're just like smiling back at her. Like nothing's
Right.
happening. So
And so the only way Valerian can sneak in there is with a certain special type of alien. Where's he going to find one of those?
Oh
well,
my
guess what?
God.
Right next to the territory you're not allowed in is this like tiny back door
It's like
into
Prostitute
like the
Alley.
red light district of
Yeah.
the space station. But like they went through like hundreds of miles of
Yes.
space station and crash landed in a place that is just conveniently located next to where he
Perfect.
needs to be for the
it's
next
also
piece
like
of plot.
right where Valerian wants
These
to be. Let's
two
be serious.
scenes
Yeah.
make me really hate this movie.
Yep.
Rihanna returns.
I could
Rihanna.
not believe Rihanna returned, though. I was so excited that we had that connection.
Nice connection. So he goes to this like strip club.
Yeah,
I
it's
think.
like a strip tease,
Right.
but
It's
it was only
unclear.
one person,
What-
which didn't make any sense.
What's
And-
weird
but
is
like-
like I did have a good laugh though. Hold on, I did have a good laugh before he gets to the strip club because this like red light district is outside of the red zone, and all of a sudden they have communication to where Valerian is again, and so they say like to all the guards down there, "Hey, Agent Valerian is down there. Give him any assistance he needs." And immediately after that, some guard is like talking to Valerian. And he's like, "Oh, hey," and Valerian like points a gun at his face, and he's like, "Freeze." And he goes, "Give me your gun." And the dude like gives him his gun, and then Valerian shoots him anyway. And the guy had just gotten orders to help him under all
I do not remember.
any
What?
circumstances. Yeah,
What?
they like radio down to all the troops. If you see this guy, help him out at any cost. And immediately Valerian's like, "Dude, I need your gun." And then he's like, "Yeah, sure," because he like just got ordered to
But
give
he
him.
just blasts him with like a freeze.
It's like a freeze ray.
Oh, okay.
But like the dude wasn't like not being helpful. He just
Yeah,
got ordered
yeah.
to help him. He's like, "Oh yeah, here, sure,
Huh.
here's my gun," and then he like freezes him anyway.
I don't remember that though.
Yeah, I have
Him
no
getting
memory
the
of that.
communication. I do remember the freeze thing.
But that was so he could sneak a gun into the strip club.
yeah, it
But he
was like a
goes-
disappearing one.
But he goes to the strip club to
For
get
like
this like
15 minutes.
it's so long.
Extremely
It's
long
very
and-
long.
dance.
And there's a guy like
Yeah.
trying to lure him in, like the club owner. I don't.
Yeah,
Why
he's-
is he trying to lure him in is super unclear.
He's got lots of mascara on.
It's weird.
Valerian ultimately kills that guy, I think, for no reason.
Well, I think he does later to help the stripper get away.
Yeah, but it's totally unclear why the club owner lures Valerian in. Because he does.
I don't
He's
know.
like,
I think he just
oh,
wants to
I
get
want that
money.
guy.
Like just.
I'm sorry.
But it doesn't
maybe
make sense that he has one guy in there for like a striptease.
Well,
When
and
you
then-
have like a show, if you're doing that for money.
And Rihanna does this weird shape-changing dance for like way too long.
It's really
Honestly,
like
10 minutes. Like 10 minutes of her dancing is like, yeah, we get it.
it is the most unnecessary. Like it's really.
It's weird.
It's hard to talk about. It's so like out there and strange.
Like, sure, talented dancer, talented singer. I have no doubt in my mind. This whole section doesn't make any sense.
No, it's really weird.
And
Meanwhile, Laureline is going to be eaten by.
it just keeps cutting back to her like being forced to put on different
Like, to
dresses.
get
She's in a
instead of
wedding
agent
dress?
suits.
Yeah, so at first you don't know
She's
she's
yelled
gonna
at.
be.
You're not sure. Yeah.
She's just being like dressed up, and she, like, which you don't know what for or anything.
I don't care. I don't even want to talk about it. Like,
no,
You
this.
have to, though.
I hate
I
this
want
part of the
to.
movie.
I
to.
want to sink my teeth in because these two scenes are pointless,
They're very yes, they are totally.
and it
pointless.
takes up 30 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
There's
Where it's
no
like
reason
anything else
because what's her name's going to get eaten by these monkey people, and he saves Rihanna from the strip club by killing the strip club owner ruthlessly and without remorse. They save Laureline, they hop down a vent, and then Rihanna dies anyway.
I thought she was just kidding.
Yeah, no, she like
Yeah.
got hurt and she like turns
So-
into sand and dies.
I thought that was
by
a
the way,
joke.
by the
I
way,
thought she was like just teasing him or something.
Nope, she's dead.
the extent of
But she's like, but at least I'm free, and you're like, I feel like that's not your answer right now.
the
but-
extent of Valerian and Rihanna's relationship was that she dances around for 10 minutes. She
Yeah.
gets on top of him, and then he goes, I liked your dance. And that's
Yeah.
it. Like, and she like morphs and she goes, oh my God, you did? Like as if no person had ever
Yes.
said, hey, great dancing. Good job.
Right? Like,
right? She's like crying, and she's like, but did you really like my dance? And you're like, what is going on?
doesn't
What's
she
going
ask
on
him
right
again
now?
when she's like dying?
Yeah,
And he
she's
was
like,
Yeah.
did you really
he's
like
like,
And
I
then-
liked your dance. And then she dies.
She dies. She
And
turns
then
into dust.
She's
Yeah.
like a goopy alien. And then
Yeah.
in a total like turn of fate, which is polar opposite to what her character arc is that I should be comfortable in my like shape shifting form, which is like a blue
Yeah.
squid.
Right, her natural
turns,
skin.
She
Into
turns
Rihanna.
back into Rihanna,
Yeah.
says thanks, and then dies.
In Rihanna form.
And also
Right. It
during
didn't
all
make any
this,
sense.
though, during all this and her being like, "Did you like my dancing?" Laureline is like, man, she was a good person." You're like,
Yeah.
you didn't meet like what is going
didn't
on?
even know her.
You didn't know her, and also when you be like, "What the fuck is she talking about? What just happened?" That you had an alien / girl
Yeah.
whose ass like what?
Also, Valerian killed like 50 of those monkey
Yes.
aliens.
Oh my God,
Oh,
I
he-
forgot about
he
that.
wiped out
he
the
cuts
whole-
off.
everyone.
He cuts off the king's head.
Yeah, they're
so they go
all
to save
dead.
Laureline, and he like slaughters these people.
Yeah, they all died.
like international incident, sort of like no
Like,
people are allowed
yeah.
in here because we don't want to like cause
This
a problem.
guy would be executed.
They specifically say when they cut back to the like control room guys of like, oh shoot, we can't send anybody in there without causing an incident. And then Valerian is
He
running
killed
around
the king.
like murdering everybody.
Yeah,
Cuts
Like
the king's head off.
yeah, right.
Straight
like-
up.
Yep.
And it doesn't come back up again. Like clearly he had to be like reprimanded for causing an incident on the
Nope.
space station. Like
Nope.
it was insane. This is You're absolutely right. Like the whole the weird dance, then they're
Get
like
rid of
gonna
all this
eat
garbage.
All
Laureline,
this doesn't
and then
need to be in there. It was
and he
weird.
slaughters everybody, and then Rihanna is dead. It's just the weirdest thing. It doesn't make any sense.
It didn't
None
make
of it
sense
makes
so that
any
they're
sense at
both
all.
agents, and yet she couldn't get herself out of this situation.
And she
it
like,
was like a dumb troll monkey thing trying to dress her. Couldn't she just be like, I don't. It doesn't make any sense.
But this is sort of the like, what kind of trouble do Valerian and Laureline get up to that I would love to have seen at the beginning of the movie.
sure.
Like, let me see
Yeah.
them get into some situations that they don't know how to get out of. But at the like 2/3 or 3/4 point of the movie, why
I'm
are
exhausted.
we wasting time
I'm
on this?
exhausted.
and
Exhausted.
it's
I don't
stuff
wanna-
that goes nowhere. Like
It's
we didn't
so
need to see that.
strange. So now they go down and they find the planet core.
The red
Yeah,
zone,
the red zone,
right?
the contaminated, whatever.
Turns out, down in the center of the space station, the alien race has secretly been building
The avatars.
the
Well,
avatars.
first of all, the red zone they pitched as like toxic, and you need a
You
breather,
can't
and
breathe,
Yeah.
and yeah.
communication shitty. So they get there, and it's like, no, it's fine.
Yeah, we good.
The avatars are down here.
Oh man, the
Where does
fact
this movie
they
even
wasted
go?
so much time on this stuff that didn't matter, because when they finally get to the
It
actual
takes
plot
like 2
stuff,
minutes to like wrap
they
it up.
get in there, and then the aliens just tell them the story. They just and
Yeah.
they tell it. It's so straight up and so straightforward. I was like, this is a trick. They're lying. They're trying to get this stuff
No.
because they're gonna blow up the space station or something like that, right? They want the converter and a pearl so they can like make enough energy to power their ship. They say
To leave Alpha.
that's what
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
say, but it's like it's so
But that is what it is,
obvious and
too.
straightforward that I'm like, no, they're up to something. Like something's going. It's the same way with like the bad guy
Right.
can't be so obviously this bad.
It is. It's like real obvious. Everything is just straightforward.
So they just lay it out. This is what we want. They wake
But
up
then
the commander for some reason. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
I would have been like, you should just get rid of him. Like,
But
he's
they
a
have to
douche.
rehash all the stuff from the beginning, which has now been 2 hours since you saw the beach scene with the avatars.
Mm-hmm. Now we go back there.
And because you had all the crap in the middle, it's like, oh, I honestly did forget about that beach scene. And they show that there was a big intergalactic battle with the commander, and he like nuked some alien ship that crashed into the Avatar's planet,
Yeah.
destroyed the planet. They drifted in space for forever. They got collected by scrap collectors and brought to Alpha, where they've hid forever. It
Well,
seems.
what's weird,
Yeah,
it
they've, like,
seems
they've-
forever, but earlier on they said
Well,
this
said
was
30
30 years
years.
ago. So you're telling me they floated around in
30
space
years.
for a while, long enough to learn how to like use the ship and like
Clearly
live
they're,
on
program
like,
it?
and stuff?
smart.
Yeah.
They specifically say that they were on with the scrap collectors for 3 years before they had enough scrap to go back to Alpha. And then
Oh, really?
there still has been enough time to somehow like build their like habitat hidden in the inside of
Yeah,
Alpha.
it was like they learned from all the different species.
Like it's like 100 years worth of work has happened in the last 30
They're
years.
a lot smarter than you, Ben.
Obviously.
Yeah, they're avatars.
Yeah.
That's their thing.
Doy.
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 You know what else happens? They wake up the commander just
Right.
in time for him to wake up his death troops, and then there's
Well-
like all
Well, like during this, there's backup coming to help save the commander.
right.
So the
That's
backup
right,
is waiting
yeah.
right outside the like shield door thing, whatever. It's
Is
like
it
It's a
impenetrable?
weird-
It's,
it's like a
never made clear.
Stargate. It's like a Stargate entrance. Like you just
But
walk through
also
this.
physically, when you pass through it, you haven't moved. You just
I don't
walk
know, it's
through
weird.
it. It's weird. It's very
They
unclear
don't talk about that.
what
but,
it
like,
is.
Backup still doesn't know that they're fine. Like they're not bad. But even when backup is going to stand down, there's like a bomb that I don't know why they were like, should we just like start setting these bombs?
They set like all kinds of charges around.
which is like counting down while they're still talking to everyone. I want to
And
be
they're
like, should we, like-
standing there,
Yeah, should we
surrounded by
pause
these
this?
bombs.
Yeah,
for
like,
no reason.
Maybe we should pause it while we're taking a chit chat. But then the robot guys from the commander, the like troops that nobody
Yeah,
else
what
can
are
stop,
those
they just
called?
start like shooting and
Well,
crap.
because they have to remember they wake the commander up to like have him
Oh yeah, to
confirm
tell
what's
him
going
to,
on,
like,
but instead
stand
he
down.
just yells into the like comms.
Yes.
He's like, "Death troops attack" or something like that, and they
Yes,
just
that's
start
what
like
it is.
taking everybody out. They're
Even, like,
up
the
in the
good
control
guys.
room taking people out. They're taking out the guys who are outside of the door.
This is the part
You know-
where in the control room they're shooting everyone, and they're like, "We gotta stop that bomb!" And whoever the guy is, like, he looks like he's the assistant to an assistant.
Right.
To,
It's like
whatever. He's like army crawling. What you said, Ben. He took out like a Black and Decker like portable drill, and he starts like
much.
drilling his podium, which is like his little
Yeah.
like desk. And apparently, there's a manual way to stop this, like in the inside of the podium. But it's like, why? Would
Yeah,
this
why
be a
was there
thing?
another screen in there?
And you're like, doo, 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 like while he's
true.
being shot
That's
at.
true.
He takes it off and he like stops it with, of course, like 2 seconds
1
left
second.
or something.
the main commander
Got him.
belts out one of the worst lines I've ever heard, and I don't know what it is. It's like a soldier would rather kill everyone than
Oh,
face
yeah.
embarrassment, or just
Yes.
something like
It is something like that. He's like,
preposterous.
I will never admit I'm wrong, or what? Something stupid.
I
Like
would
that.
rather kill you all than like face embarrassment. It's like
Yeah,
Right.
cool line, dude.
he says it. Yeah, he says it where he's like, a real soldier would never, and you're like, I'm sorry, what?
It's
Are we
just
sure
like-
about that?
It is so like
I feel
cut
like
and
nobody else
dry.
is on this page.
I
It-
just, you know,
Anyway, where are we
So-
at? They give
where
the-
we're at is let down. We're let
No.
down of by what could have been.
They give the
I know,
one
but
last pearl. No, wait. There
Yeah,
is one
wait,
thing I want to touch
there-
on.
Yes, go
Because
for it,
they
Ken.
give the pearl. I think Laureline, the girl,
Yep.
gives the pearl to avatars, and then what's his name, Jackass Supreme, somehow has the
He
converter.
has the little, the animal.
He has the creature that is going to power. It turns out that they built this ship inside Alpha,
Yeah,
and they need the pearl and they need the converter to power it to just blast off into space and leave. He won't give them the converter.
oh my gosh, yeah.
The hero is like, no, we got to take this back, babe.
I'm a soldier. I follow orders.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
a
like,
soldier.
I gotta follow protocol. You just punched the commander. You just
You
did
know
all
what else
these
we
things.
forgot? Oh my
that
god,
doesn't,
I
like-
forgot about this. It's double layered in its insanity because when the princess, at the very goddamn beginning of the movie, like blasts her energy out,
Oh, how she like gave her soul to Valerian.
it's revealed 2 hours later.
Yeah,
2 hours later that her soul is in Valerian.
'cause
And he still will not give
yeah,
the converter to them.
like she picked him to like help her people
Like,
out, and
what?
he's like, man, I don't know.
Damn.
This doesn't seem like up
Sorry,
to code.
dog.
Remember when he slayed that king without asking anybody?
Right.
You didn't have
he's
any
a
problem with
jerk.
that. He won't
Well-
hand
So-
the converter
Yeah,
over.
Then-
that's when she like takes him aside and she's like, "Hey, douchebag, do you know anything?" And
I
she
just-
gives
like,
him a little chit
we're
chat.
She's the hero. The
Yeah.
princess should have gone into. If the princess went into her
No problem.
and she
Like,
Oh,
was
that
there
would
at the
make
right
so
moment,
much
that would make
more
so
sense.
much more sense. You
it
would
would
not
make
choose
way
him.
more sense. Where, like, you know what? He is a flawed jerk, but he has Laureline, who's sort of like blessed with sense and intelligence,
Yeah.
and okay, then they make an interesting duo. But there's
No.
this like weird thing where like he sucks right up to the last minute.
Yeah.
Right? She the whole time is like, "What are you talking about? Like, I don't understand why you're being such a douche." And he just keeps being like, "Man, protocol. We gotta follow the
Protocol, baby.
So
Anyway,
Eventually, she convinces him to give it to them. They blast off before all the robot soldiers kill him.
they've got a sweet spaceship that looks like a beach inside of it.
Yeah,
yeah,
they like
it is
fake
kind
it
of
out.
cool.
to-
It's like
They
like a
recreate
simulation.
their planet.
right.
Yeah.
That is, and Valerian and Laureline escape in like the original first pod of the International Space Station,
like
which
the
they
old
somehow
one of them.
powered back up.
Well, I
Yep.
think they jumped in when they blasted off, and then they kind of like they're floating back.
Right, and this is the end of the movie. They're floating
Well-
in that space
Well,
station.
Well, yeah.
there's
hold up.
there's another reference to his playlist, which again you have not heard that term for
Yeah.
2 hours,
right.
and I guess he deletes it. Like,
Well,
Are
is
they
it
in the
a,
space?
is it a literal
He-
playlist?
Well, how would it always be like popping up in different spaceships? But he is asking her one more time to marry him, but he has like one of the pearls that
Yeah,
he like
he has
made
an extra
into a
somehow.
ring. Which I want to be like, did you steal another fucking pearl? Like, didn't we just go over
Again,
this?
dipshit. Yeah.
Stop
Not
taking
ours.
pearls right now. So he takes a pearl, Ben Stein. He is asking her, and before she can answer, he's like, hold up. I want you to be the only one in my playlist. And then they like make out on the way back to the ship or something.
Well, they have 2 hours until they.
Yeah,
get
it's made very clear that they're
Oh,
going
is
to bang
it? I
inside of
didn't-
this
Right.
Chinese
remember.
We got
pod.
we got 2 hours.
And it
till we
is.
get
I think it has a Chinese
I don't
flag
remember
on
that
it.
at all.
It's made
Okay.
very clear what they're going to do with that 2 hours, and
Yeah.
that's the end
okay.
of the movie.
That's it.
Which you like
Oh,
still
Clive Owen,
hate him.
the main general, he's like left
Yeah,
literally hanging
Dangling.
in like
oh yeah,
a
like
super crappy prop
yeah.
of like
And he's of course like angry still, even though
what is
obviously
he
he's
even
gonna
wrapped
be
up
arrested.
in? I don't.
Like Vine.
And he's
I
like
don't know.
bungee cording in the middle of this thing, and they're like, "Arrest him!" It's like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah, we figured that out a while ago. In fact, from the first scene we saw
Yeah.
him.
yeah, we figured it
could've-
out like at the 35-minute mark, and we're at 2.5 hours now.
So here we
that's
are.
it.
I don't know, Ken.
I'll tell you what. If you cut the Rihanna scene and the monkeys trying to eat Laureline's head, you've trimmed out 25 minutes. That's
It
not
wouldn't
an
be that bad
exaggeration. Maybe it makes sense more. I had a big problem with when they face down the commander at the end. They like tell him what he did as if it was a big reveal.
Yeah, it
But
was
the
very
only reason-
obvious.
The only reason it was a reveal is because you forgot about it because of the Rihanna and the head eating scene. Like, this movie, I don't hate it. It could be a lot better.
I'm just so disappointed in it. It's like about all these different species and different worlds coming together. They're
Looks
secret
really
agents
cool.
of the universe. Like, let's
Yeah.
be serious. This could be cool.
Well, okay, so if you took off the let's save some time. We'll cut off
Yeah.
the space station part at the beginning. We'll cut off
Yeah.
the beach part at the beginning because all that
Wow.
gets explained to us later at the end.
no, you kind
That's
of
true.
It's explained
That's true.
that these are powerful and we're from this planet or whatever. And instead, right before that,
Maybe it
we
is
take-
a big reveal.
we
at
take the
end.
Rihanna
Yeah.
part out. So we have the whole second part of the movie is going to be they're on this mission guarding the commander and they have a converter and like what's a converter and where did it come from? It came from that mission that they did on the desert planet and then it turns to this big whole thing in the space station.
Yeah.
But before any of that, we saw Valerian and Laureline go on a regular mission.
Yeah.
So that by the
Sign
time
me
he
up.
starts being a creep and they're doing stuff together, we're like,
Starts
oh,
being a creep.
they work together. This is what they do.
He's
Like,
still,
this
like,
is their
he's-
thing.
He's very
This is-
not
yeah.
professional still. Like, I think
and
you said,
the
Ken. You're
movie's like the same length and time, but like you cut out all the stuff you don't like and you
Yeah.
add in one extra scene,
Hell,
and all of a sudden
you
you're
know
like,
what?
this is cool.
yeah.
You know what? You could have put that goofy Rihanna and like alien stuff. That could have been the opening scene.
Sure,
of them,
maybe
like,
that's
Yeah,
the
even
like
hey,
that would
we're
make
crazy.
more
stuck in
sense.
the I don't know.
That could have been the beginning, and you're like, well, this is the crazy hijinks they get into.
This
and
is
look,
wild.
Yeah.
This is dumb and yeah.
I also thought it was going to be some sort of time issue. So at the
Ooh.
beginning, we see them crash and then their suits. And then later, we're like, hey, I've seen those suits. It's the guys who like died on the ship that crashed, which you find out, yeah, because they were like fighting a war or whatever. But I thought it was going to be like, well, that planet disappeared 30 years ago, but maybe like with time and, you know, changing in the distance, that like just happened. Like some sort of weird
Ah,
time
that
right,
would've been
because
thing.
he
cool.
seemingly just got the spirit in him.
Yeah, so I thought it was gonna be like maybe that hasn't happened yet, and when they go to check out the contaminated area, they then go to that,
Right.
like their ship goes to that spot and then wrecks. Like I thought it was gonna be some sort of like time issue loop thing, and instead it was like no. We
Just
it was
bad
very
guys.
simple.
I
Yeah.
was on board for the whole movie about what could be
Yes.
going on, what
Yes.
could happening, and in the end, it turns out not much. Not much is happening, and it's still,
No.
I didn't have a bad time. Like,
Would you? I would watch a sequel.
Yeah,
Because I feel
so
like
would
they
I.
would. I
Yeah.
feel like they would correct
for
a
sure.
lot of the issues here.
It wasn't I mean, like, it wasn't horrible
It
like
wasn't
some of the
bad.
movies we've watched. I was just more disappointed because I was hoping and I thought it could be a lot better
Yeah.
with the storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and
liked
also the
her.
main character, he's not
He sucked.
he's not a main character.
I think if you just had a different actor, I
Yeah.
think that would have been way different.
I agree.
He could not handle that.
He is
Whatever
not like
that
the
was.
all-star agent who's a lady. Like, there's nothing about him for any of that. It just was weird.
All right,
I don't
gang.
know.
Well, it sounds like we're all in agreement. And with that, I think it brings us to the close of episode number 32 of the Date Night Dice
It's getting
podcast.
longer and longer, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, we're gonna have to
We're working on it. Yeah.
trim it down here or something.
It's called a pause button. You can get back to it any day.
All right. Well, we'll see you
That's
guys
true.
next time.
Have a good one.
See ya.